Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial-free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 0111111.
Water conditioning, preventing forever chemicals from entering your home. Check out their different solutions. Go to daviswaterconditioning.com.
How pathetic can some people be?
You ever go into a daycare? It looks like a frat house. These kids passed out in their clothes everywhere. Smells like throw up. Some kids have magic marker written on their face. The girls are running around lifting up their shirts, trying to put everything in their mouth. I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? I'm not happy about it. This isn't a good environment for my boy. I don't know if these girls have had all their shots. I wanted to pull them out of there, but my wife said she's adamant that daycare, they've done studies. Kids that go to daycare, they make more money, they do better later on in life. I'm like, not if we don't have any money left to put them in college. I'd like to see that job interview. Well, I only have a high school diploma. But if you look, I did do 4 years at Little Footsteps. I could do the big slide when I left. You guys have circle time here? That's my favorite. Will's on the bus. I'm worried I'm not going to have money left to put him in college. I'm worried he's going to get up in high school and be like, Dad, can you help me pay for college? And I'm like, dude, you already went to college. Age 1 to 4, man. Your college is done, buddy. All done. All done.
Dumbass of the day. 93.3 KZOZ.
We are going off to Georgia today. Heading to a daycare. About like a fraternity. Where 2 women have been arrested. They weren't hurt. They weren't like beating the kids or starving them or God knows what else. But they did want some peace and quiet in the afternoon. And when nap time wasn't working, they decided to start microdosing them with Benadryl.
No, even more like a frat house.
See, the problem with Benadryl is some people it affects differently, right? My wife takes it. She wires her up. She can't go to sleep.
Dude, you're right.
I take it, I pass out. But, I take 1, I'm not drowsy. I take 2, If I take 3, have you ever taken 3?
No.
Awesome sleep. But I'm a larger guy, so I'm not telling anybody to do it, okay? You got to make sure your body can handle it. You got to have a good liver. Take 3. I don't think it's recommended. Actually, who knows? Maybe it is.
When you microdose children, I would think that the suggested dosage, even if you think you're microdosing it, you're giving them more than they are because they don't weigh that much. Kids don't weigh that much.
I mean, think about it.
Not until they.
I think Benadryl comes in a liquid form for kids, and you just put it in their juice. Go right to sleep.
My daughter's super skinny. She's like 80 pounds.
Oh yeah, she would need much.
Grade.
Quarter of a Benadryl. Yeah. So, the larger the kids, they probably need a little more. But I'm not a doctor. Don't take my advice. I'm not saying you should do this either because what happened to these 2 ladies? They're in prison. Well, they're in jail. One's 51. The other one's 35. It's her daughter-in-law. They ran the business together. Apparently, back in October, a parent noticed that her kids were a little crankier than normal and they're a little lethargic. Yeah, because they were dosed up on Benadryl. They were also sleeping a lot. As soon as they got home, they just wanted to go to sleep. So she had some blood work done. They found out, elevated levels of Benadryl and melatonin. Oh, they were double dosing them. So cops got involved. Apparently, the women did admit to saying, well, they just were trying to get the kids to relax for nap time. And we've been doing this for years, they said. Now, Stacy Young and her daughter-in-law are out of business, and the kids won't be microdosed anymore. As a parent, that would probably upset you. I could see your wife driving over there and driving a van, the minivan to the
yes. Yeah, they should be very upset by that. The good news for the women that can't run their daycare anymore is they're sitting on a mound of Benadryl and what else were they?
Melatonin.
Melatonin. So if you want to buy any Benadryl and melatonin on the cheap, before it expires.
Yeah, they're doing a garage sale this
Go to North Georgia.
Yeah.
Gotta get rid of this stuff. It's going to expire.
I mean, if you can't handle kids
don't go into that
being
business.
kids, you probably should look
business.
into doing something else. Congratulations to these two ladies. You're Jeff and Jeremy's.
Dumbass of the day. It's Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
Per capita, Californians drive more Teslas than anywhere else in the country by far. By far. Okay.
I keep seeing all these people getting Teslas. Rob Schneider just took a picture and posted it on his Facebook. He got a Roadster. So there is different types of Teslas, even though to me, they all look very similar. There's little differences. There's some that are an SUV kind of. There's some that are more like a little sports car. And then there's a little sedan one. My neighbor's got one. You can hear it coming. You know, it's so funny how they talk about these things being quiet because there's no motor. No, I can hear that hum coming down the once it turns the corner of the neighborhood.
They're so heavy. It's the tires. It's the tires that you're hearing rubbing on the pavement because they're so heavy. They go through tires like none other, I guess. So one of the side effects
that's good for the ozone layer.
One of the side effects of the fires is lithium batteries burned up in the wildfires down in Los Angeles. I was reading this story over the weekend. There is toxic pollution in the air in LA as a result of electric cars and mostly being Teslas.
What? Are you sure, Jeff? Are you sure? This sounds crazy to me. I mean, come on. These things are supposed to solve our pollution issues, our air pollution issues, the air quality issues, and you're telling me that they're making them worse?
So my mind automatically went to the next step. What if this was all part of a grand plan?
Oh.
Elon Musk says, I'm taking my business out of California. Gavin Newsom says, okay, that's it. We're not going to do any more control burns. And we're going to let especially in the areas where there's a high concentration of Teslas. And then when there's a wildfire, it'll happen. It'll happen at some point. They'll all burn up and there'll be toxic pollution. And then I can say, see, told you so.
Oh, that's a big C told you so.
It's a big C told you so.
It is a big C told you so.
All's fair in politics, right? And love and war and politics. And it's like, I mean, my mind went there and it quickly went away. But there is a post on Facebook that documents my mind going there. But like that was part of the plan. And then you have what happened up in Moss Landing late last week. Battery plant burns up overnight. They have to evacuate everybody in what's the town? Watsonville and Castroville. I get them mixed up.
Okay.
But those two towns right next to Moss Landing, I think they're both there, Castroville and Watsonville.
What caused? So, I mean, do you know what caused the fire?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
No. That's the same company that wants to put the place in Morro Bay.
Yeah.
That's a problem, right? So it's like, okay, we rush to this alternative energy. It's like the devil, like, okay, yeah, we know that gas puts pollutants in the air, but also we had a big discussion with the guys at with Bud from California Diesel and RV last week about this. They figured out ways to make them burn cleaner, not zero emissions, but cleaner. So if they're burning cleaner, it's better for the environment. If you have, what was the number in this article? There's 431,000 Teslas in operation in the Los Angeles area. Wow. A lot of the people in the zip codes of Altadena and Pacific Palisades drove Teslas. Those houses burnt to the ground. So did the cars that were parked out in front of those houses. Those were lithium batteries. That's what's led to toxic pollution. It's the devil we don't know. What's better, the devil you know or the devil you don't know?
Well, that's the thing, This reminds me of a conversation we recently had in the last couple of years about injecting yourself with something to protect yourself from.
Right, exactly.
But we don't know what's in it. It hasn't been tested. And I'm getting articles now from friends.
Oh, it's terrible, man.
That these articles are claiming that if you got this, it could, that they're finding out in rats and mice that it's damaging to heart tissue. So, and we all know how many people we lost from heart attacks. I don't know exactly where this literature is coming from, but you're starting to hear more and more stories like this. It'll be interesting to find out if we ever do, and I'm sure somebody will publish it if it does happen. But yeah, it kind of ties right back into this. Like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And yeah, we understand this, but are we sure this is what we're ready for? Because what happens when a plant goes up and all those toxins go into the air? And does that cause cancer to people that are within a certain mile, that live, and go to school and go to work within? We don't know. But have we tested that?
And we won't know for 50 years.
And you and I are just sitting here as a couple of guys like anybody else driving to work right now going, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. But yeah, okay. Damn it. Why didn't I think about that? Some of us did. Some of us didn't.
The market share in Los Angeles for Tesla vehicles is 3 times that of the rest of the nation. That's insane. That's like everybody's driving a Tesla down in Los Angeles, or it just seems like it when you're driving around. The Model Y was the biggest selling vehicle in the state through September. That means more Model Ys were sold in California than any other car, truck, anything. The Model Y, Tesla. And we live in a wildfire state. And now there's a toxic pollution problem in Los Angeles because lithium batteries burned up in a wildfire.
By the way, Moss Landing is an unincorporated little town in the Monterey area. So it's its own town. It's by Watsonville kind of, but it's on the coast.
Yeah.
Castroville is south.
There's a bunch of fruit stands and stuff when you drive by. Yeah. When you drive by, it's like there's a fruit stand and then a power plant, which is a battery storage.
I hadn't even paid attention to it, except for I think
what's it going to do to the fruit?
Because they have a big harbor. They have a big harbor there, and I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like a lot of agriculture on that area.
No, I understand. I mean, and you're not trying to freak people out, but you're like, hey, listen,
I'm not. But
batteries
make people aware.
And when they burn, what is the cause? What about the smoke? We know when wood burns, goes up in the air, doesn't give people have fires.
We've all seen a car fire on the 101. And
you ever seen an electric car, a Tesla car fire? They're bad. There was one on the grade a couple of years ago I remember seeing, and it was like the hottest fire. They had to shut down all the lanes, even shut down the southbound lanes. It was in the northbound lanes, and they had to shut the southbound lanes down because the heat was so intense.
How ironic would it be that Elon is Trump's right-hand man, and I'm sure there's intention for that too. By the way, I'm not fully buying this whole like he's all on board with Trump. I think it was like he saw that Trump could win the election and he wanted to make sure he was on the right side.
He aligned himself with the right person.
His Trump's stance on this kind of stuff.
I think he knows that Trump is going to be better for business, period, in this country.
True. I get that. But there's also, there's ulterior motives.
Sure.
For this.
I'm sure Trump knows that as well.
Right, exactly. They're both businessmen. They understand the scratch my back, I scratch yours attitude. But it's like, it's also, how ironic would it be if Tesla ends up getting shut down under a Trump administration because of things like toxic pollution, like contaminants, the dangers of electric cars, like we're not quite there yet type thing. So then they got to pull it back a little bit. How ironic would it be if that happened? Just crazy.
Yeah, that'd be, it would be interesting. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But anyways, your thoughts are always welcome. 805-543-3693. Again, this week, giving away more Chicago tickets. We'll give you details on that coming up.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Listen online at kzoz.com.
As Invisalign, all in a very comfortable and caring environment that is proactive for your dental health. If your jaw is sore in the morning and you're not really sure why, well, you could be clenching. Here's Dr. Lynn to explain.
Clenching and grinding are more common than we think, and as teeth get older and weaker, they can break more easily. Conservative options, such as night guards or correcting the bite, can help keep teeth for a lifetime.
Visit MagnoliaDentalSLO.com and see why so many others have chosen Dr. Lynn and Magnolia Dental. Then call 805-543-6963 to make an appointment. That's 805-543-6963. Me, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Jeff and Jeremy here, podcast. It's Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. That's what you search wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also download it at kzoz.com. Thanks to our friends at Team Swayze.
So I read this over the weekend, and I thought of you, and I thought I want to know if you wrote it on behalf, because this sounds like some kind of framing ass stuff that you would write.
Sound like you make me sound like I'm a manipulator.
If you've listened to this show. If you've listened to this show, you know that Jeremy is a big proponent of a 32-hour work week. I am a big opponent of a 32-hour
No, you're coming around. We've had conversations. You're coming around.
Yeah, this is enough to make me go back in the other direction, though. I'm going back to 40. The Progressive Staff.
You know what? Then do me a favor. Let's not even talk about it. There's no reason to put a negative spin on the 32-hour work week.
This is the Congressional Progressive Staff. Okay, these are people that work for Democrats in Congress.
Well, there's a new law when we do this. They're not allowed to take 32-hour work week. They have to work 42. They got together and they penned a plea to their bosses, who are the actual Democrats in Congress, and they said they have a committee. It's called the Congressional Progressive Staff Association. They think that the aides should be working smarter, not harder. Okay.
So they wrote a letter to Congress leadership on Thursday of last week, and they said, we're asking members to consider 32-hour work weeks in their offices. Some of the benefits of the 32-hour work week is that if you instill this, you will help increase retention, boost productivity, and improve your quality of life for your team. This is just people that want to work 4 days a week.
No, but that's what they've been saying all along. They say that people that do the 4-hour work weeks are more productive.
They, when you say they, to me, it means lazy people.
No, it means
that's
the people
what
that
they
do the
are.
studies. It's the people that do the studies.
The people that do the studies,
Yeah.
like the Congressional Progressive Staff Association.
The doctors, the psychiatrists, those people. Better quality of life, more efficient. They say all this
We're urging
stuff.
members, and they're so cavalier about it too. They're like, we're urging members to give it a shot, to pilot it for a 6-month period.
How do you know if you
it
don't try,
doesn't
bro?
work 100%? Bring it back to the way it was. Yeah, like that tells us anything. Try something for 6 months, and then when you say sorry, this isn't working out, people will flee like.
We had a good test. COVID, for example. A lot of people working from home. Now they're not working from home. You know why? Because they had to go back to work. People they'll figure it out. It's not that big a deal to go, let's give it a shot. Let's try the 4 days.
These people need more help. They don't need less help.
Well, here's the thing. This is what you do.
Or maybe
let the marketplace decide.
Helping.
If there's companies out there that want to run a 4-day work week, start doing it. Start getting your employees talking about it. Go from there. If it works, great. If not, other companies, if you want to do a 5-day work week, great. If the employee wants to work 5 days and stay with you because he likes you, you're a good company, you treat him well, you pay him well, they'll probably stay. But if not, they might go to the other guy. Let the marketplace decide.
Ro Khanna, he's a congressman from this great state. He won an award from the Congressional Management Foundation.
George Soros won an award too.
Who says
Hillary Clinton.
Who says you need to trim the fat when you have a organization like the Congressional Management Foundation? He won an award from them for workplace culture, thanks in part to flexible schedules. I'm all for flexible schedules, but I think you need to work 40 hours a week. You need to put your time in. You need to fulfill your day, because if you're working 32,
why?
You have a set limit of work that you do, right? If you have 32 hours to do that work, you have no room for you'll do that work and just that work in those 32 hours, but there's no extra 8 hours of growth.
Or it takes you an extra 8 hours,
expanding your mind.
And it takes you 40 hours to do the same work, because people aren't motivated.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially
that's true.
Younger generations,
hiring the right people.
Yeah, things are just different now. I mean, it's just people were raised different. They were coddled more. They're just not. They can't handle it, man.
You understand that Bernie Sanders is all for this, right? So you're basically Bernie Sanders.
No, I'm not Bernie Sanders. Just because we agree on one thing does not make me Bernie Sanders, okay? Not all of Bernie's ideas are bad, Jeff. I've been telling you this for years.
Lazy.
93.3 KZOZ rocks. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.